Hey, what's up? It's Jim and little Soph. Say hi.
Hi.
And we're here to talk about Abominable. Right, Soph?
Yeah.
So, Sophie, we all saw that last night, remember?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
What'd you think of the Yeti, the monster?
Yeah. I see the monster.
Was it a cool monster?
Yeah.
Was the movies fun? What'd you eat at the movies?
I eat pizza in the
You-
movie.
You ate pizza? What else you eat?
Water and meat.
You ate water?
Yeah.
Water and pizza?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like the girl?
Yeah.
Okay. Should Daddy talk about the movie and then you tell me what you want to say too?
Yeah.
Okay. So Abominable is the latest film from Dreamworks. It was made by their Chinese studio, which has now been renamed Pearl Studio. It was previously called Oriental Dreamworks. And it is actually directed by Jill Cotton, who is not Chinese. But it is kind of similar to, either like E.T. or Monster Trucks or Mac and Me or even DreamWorks' own How to Train Your Dragon. But you haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon yet, right?
Yeah.
But you want to, right?
Yeah.
You do! That's cool. But it's sort of like How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know if it's maybe as good. It's better than Monster Trucks, but I think the design is... Okay, I won't tickle you.
No.
Don't tickle you? Are you sure?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Oh, you're kicking it! You moved the camera! Is that funny? Am I tickling you? Okay, I won't tickle you. Okay, would you like the girl in it?
Yeah.
What'd she do?
She slapped.
She what?
She cried.
She cried a little bit.
She cried and cried.
She didn't cry and cry.
Yeah.
The girl in the movie cried and cried.
Yeah.
Did you see a different movie?
No.
No. Okay. Wait. Nobody can see me now. They just see you. You just want them to see you? Okay. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, people.
Hi, people.
Okay, you said it right this time. No hi poo poo. You still remember that? Yeah.
I hi poo poo.
You want to say hi poo poo?
Yeah.
Okay, you can say it.
Hi poo poo.
Okay, is that your tagline?
No.
Okay. You're silly. I love you. Even though this plot, I agree what everyone says about Abominable, that plot-wise, it's really generic. But in terms of the animation... Stop talking! But it's a movie review.
I want to dog.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Hi.
Hi to who?
People.
Oh no, look at this one.
Hi, peoples.
Say hi, peoples.
Hi, peoples.
Oh, you kicked it. Oh,
Don't talk. Aren't you go?
are you done?
Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah.
So, Abominable is, in a lot of ways, a story we've seen a lot of times, almost too many times. And it's a story we've seen DreamWorks do before with their own kind of E.T. sort of knockoff with How to Train Your Dragon. So this, I don't think of it as an E.T. knockoff, but it's the idea of a young child finding an otherworldly creature and then kind of changing their life and their perspective. This is generic in a way that I still found it very enjoyable. I took my wife, my daughter, my mother-in-law, we all had a really wonderful time seeing Abominable. And in terms of like what it is, it's very middle of the road and everything like that. But I think what it does excel in is its setting and its sets. I don't think the cinematography is incredible or anything like that, but the colors are very beautiful. I like the more cartoony design, which I thought was a really nice touch that DreamWorks did in this, particularly because DreamWorks is a little more open to messing with the design, even though it looks like a traditional CG studio. It has more of a TV feel, which I don't mean as an insult, in terms of like when you see the settings and how this is mainly taking place in China. They start in Shanghai, make their way to Everest, so it feels like a totally different world than you expect in an American film. I also like that the monster who was just called Everest, this film was originally called Everest. It was in development for a long time. This might be one of the last films in development when Katzenberg was really in charge of the studio. I liked how the creature who was called Everest did this thing where he's like, when he had his powers, and it felt very Hollywood and American, but a little different. It definitely, you could tell that it was made by a studio that was trying to make an American kind of feel to it, but wasn't American, and I actually like that a lot about it. This is pretty much from what I've heard, because what DreamWorks did is they made a studio in China because of the import laws with films there. They kind of found a tax dodgy kind of financial reason to do it, but they actually are developing projects, so I think this is the first real major one from that. I quite like how they did that, because it was nice for my daughter to see a film that's in Shanghai. I liked Abominable. I will admit it is not maybe the best DreamWorks in the world. It's not the best directed or anything like that, but in terms of what it's trying to do, it feels, in terms of the design, in much more of a TV kind of simpler design, everything like that, that it's really trying to be more of a simple kind of story. It kind of almost feels like it sort of knows what it's doing isn't completely original or anything like that. It just is trying to tell that story in a decent enough way, like a studio director, which I think Jill Cotton does very well, and I think it works within that. I liked How to Train Your Dragon 3 maybe better, but I do think the group of kids worked a lot better. I like that Eddie Izzard was in this. I think Sarah Paulson did an actually really great voice job. We should honestly put Sarah Paulson in more stuff. She's a great voice actor. This was a fun movie. I liked how violin played into it, and the special Yeti powers I actually thought were kind of cool, and it did feel sort of different enough that it felt a little more interesting, and I thought that was really cool about Abominable. You know, I just feel like DreamWorks, they're one of the few animation studios that a lot of them talk about maybe making a more modestly feeling film, and this sort of felt like that. It sort of almost feels like a cheaper animated studio made it, but they kind of like put a little more chutzpah into it while still adhering to that kind of a design in a weird way. It might sound like I'm taking it down, but I sort of liked that feel to it. I thought that was actually really cool, and I liked how it was about a girl, and she doesn't, spoilers I guess, doesn't fall in love. It wasn't about a romantic thing. It was really about this girl's journey than it was about her falling in love with this guy, which might be sort of hinted at, but they changed. It did feel like this was a very cut up film. I don't know if that's because of the Universal buyout or anything like that. With the whooping snakes and things, it felt like jokes were kind of like dropped, but in a way that you can kind of, it felt like there was probably more of them, or they were built better or something like that, or maybe this film wasn't that well made, but I kind of like could sense that throughout it. In terms of all these, I had a good time with my daughter. Obviously she seemed to have a good time. It sounds cheesy when I do this, because that's probably why I liked Toy Story 4 and as well, but both these I think are decent movies. This is probably one that maybe, I don't know if she'll see it again that many times or anything like that, but I think it showed how DreamWorks is good at just being a good big studio kind of factory. This kind of shows that off, whereas the How to Train Your Dragon films, or maybe the Kung Fu Panda films, were like the peak of the studio and a peak franchise for them. This is maybe not that. It's more of probably a film in the filmography you probably forget about, and I get that, but I think for everything it's doing and how it's opening up, you know, especially Western audiences to a lot of worlds and a different culture, and not playing it in a way that feels altogether that different, playing in a very Hollywood way, I thought that was actually very progressive and great. But the film itself, like, you know, not having those extra things, I don't think necessarily does that, because I agree, it is very generic. It is something we've heard many times before. It has enough interesting specificity and nice sets and differences about it that it kind of brings itself out a lot more, because it really did use those while also doing kind of a Western film, and I sort of liked all those influences coming together to make what Abominable really was. So if you have seen Abominable and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments.
Subscribe if you'd like to.
Good job. Thank you. Say thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Okay. No, just say bye-bye.
No.
Oh, can you just say bye-bye?
No.
Okay. Okay. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
How you have to move it.